Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm here to talk about Pinterest stock and the analysis that I have post earnings on this company. If you guys do enjoy this video, be sure to smash that like button, also subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you guys' support, and let's get right into it. So they had a disappointing earnings. Pinterest, that is what happened. They dropped almost 22% here after hours today. It was, not the best for a lot of Pinterest shareholders. I personally was not holding this stock at the time of this earnings drop, but now I am going to be a shareholder here very soon. That's a little bit of a jump forward into the video, but basically we look at this company's financials and we see they're about, making $4 billion a year. We see the PE ratio is extremely low for this company. A PE ratio of anywhere, between 10 and 20 for a company that is making a good amount of money with, growth rates that are not bad, as we're going to see later in this video, is just absurd. So let's get right into, what we're here to talk about. This is market-io is what I'm using this platform for. So if you guys do enjoy, this kind of information, it's a lot of information that you can't get anywhere else. Be sure to use my 7-day free trial. It's a link in the description down below. It's free. There's no obligation to you. You can cancel before the 7 days and not pay anything. So try that out, guys. But basically, we see that revenue is growing every single quarter for the past 5 years. It's grown every single quarter. So very impressive that they're able to do that. Their free cash flow is growing very nicely as well. And then we see Wall Street analysts. There's 18 analysts that have reviewed this stock. 15 of them have said that it was a buy, and the average price target in the next year is 56% upside. So the average price target, I mean, that you got to take price targets with a grain of salt, but even then, 56% being the average price target with a high price target of almost 100% and a low price target of 28%. Usually low price targets are below what the stock is usually valued as. So the fact that the PE ratio is so low is insane to me. What is Pinterest? If you guys don't know what Pinterest is, it's a visual discovery engine and social media platform. And then basically, I'd compare it to something like Instagram, except it's for, kind of artsy things, maybe home decor, maybe an art project, maybe some paintings, maybe, you want to decorate your living room with something, you go on Pinterest. You can pin images and videos of theme collections called boards. And like it says here, it's used for planning and visualizing future products. You can also buy things on it. We'll get into that. That's how they make money. Life events, and then also there's home renovations, recipes, fashion, travel. They have a lot of different things on Pinterest, and they've done a very good job at integrating some money into this, because you see these platforms that have a big user base and they have, a lot of different things going on, a lot of great ideas, but they just don't know how to make money. For example, there's an app called Be Real, very popular, was very popular for a long time. They just didn't make any money. How does Pinterest make money? So Pinterest makes money primarily through advertising. Obviously, they sell promoted pins, so you can promote your pin. Then they also have other ad formats to businesses. Businesses can put ads of products on Pinterest. I'd compare it to Google Ads. A lot of businesses do run ads on Pinterest that are in the home furnishing space, things of that nature, travel space, recipe space. A lot of people are running ads in those spaces. So that is how they make money. The most important part of any business is them making money. We're investing in a company because we want to see them make more money. That's what makes them more valuable. That's how you value something. It generates revenue by selling targeted ads, and it appears in users' feeds that want to see that kind of ad, and brands pay for these. And a lot of brands do pay for these. They're very good at advertising Pinterest, actually, surprisingly. They're not the most popular company, not the most well covered. I think that's another reason why their PE ratio is so low. But the platform is also involved into a shopping focused discovery engine that connects users with products and services, making it a valuable advertising and sales tool for businesses. Very valuable, because people that are on Pinterest want to get new things. They're on, people go on to Google and they're kind of just looking, and the ads are just there in their face. They're not really asking for it. But on Pinterest, these the conversion rates are very high. I've looked into a few people running ads on there, and they do pretty well. I mean, it's very good return ratio for a lot of people that do run ads on there. Quarter 3 earnings. This is the main part of the video that I do want to get into right here. This is Pinterest earnings slideshow. I just wanted to go right to this and just use their slides because I think it's very valuable. I think it's very interesting to see how they did this past quarter. So we see that their revenue increased 17% quarter after quarter. So this is impressive. We see that the rest, we have US and Canada is a large driver of their revenue. We look at their revenues last year. They were a little bit higher during quarter 4, because what happens in quarter 4 is Pinterest gets a big boost. And this is usually what happens. If the revenue went back farther, we'd see even more. But it's the holiday season. People are buying new things. That is usually what happens for Pinterest. They reported in their earnings a lackadaisical. There wasn't as good of a estimate as they thought for quarter four. They weren't estimating what, analysts were expecting. I think we're going to see a surprise. I don't think that, this is the tell-all be-all. I think that it was a pretty big overreaction for a 20% drop for, kind of low estimates in quarter four. I'm not that worried about it. They still grew revenue quarter over quarter, so I'm not worried about that at all. We also see they grew revenue a great amount year over year, like almost 17%. What we see right there. So I'm not worried at all. We see that they're growing very fast. I mean, in the US, you have a revenue growth of 9%. In Europe, it's 41%. In Europe, it's 41% year over year. That's the revenue growth. You can't beat that. That's insane, honestly. I mean, growing it anywhere like that, and the rest of the world 66%. So Pinterest is becoming more global. Like I talk about in these videos, I do think that, globalization and expanding internationally for these companies is the next big step for a lot of these big companies, because they already have that market capitalization in America. There's a lot more countries out there. I mean, you wouldn't even know if you didn't go look. But their GDP is way higher than America. They're growing a lot faster. Their population is growing a lot faster, and they're doing a lot better in a lot of aspects than America is. So that's where these companies want to be. Monthly active users, we see that this grew 12% global year over year, 4% in the US, but then we have 16% in the rest of the world. So getting more international here. It's not growing at an insane rate in the US, but it is, growing very well in the rest of the world. And we see that it's actually more popular in the rest of the world. So there's 347, worldwide monthly users for Pinterest, 150 in Europe, and then only 103 in US and Canada. And this is a reflection, of how many people use it worldwide. And I think this kind of gives a false perception, because a lot of the money that people are investing in stocks is from America. So I think this gives a false perception of how popular Pinterest really is. It's very popular around the whole world. Average revenue per user, we see that rest of the world, it's very low because there are so many users, but we see that it still is increasing. It's up 44% year over year. I mean, these growth rates are very impressive. For even with a company with a 10 PE ratio pretty much now, it's kind of insane to say. They're growing pretty well. I mean, it's pretty, insane that they're able to grow 44% year over year in the rest of the world, but only 5% in US and Canada, but they're still growing. They're still growing very well. So very happy to see that. We see their non-GAAP and expenses, not that worried about that. Their adjusted EBITDA up 24% year over year. 12 months ended adjusted EBITDA. Their appendix, this is their, financials if you get a little bit more into it. Quarter ended right there these are some of the past quarters. And then we go down and then we see. So yeah, I mean, this company's financials look very well. I'm not worried about it at all financially. I think that bad guidance is not a reason for a stock to drop 20%. I think there's a lot of long-term things that could happen for a stock to drop 20%. I think some bigger things have to happen than what happened to Pinterest. So I really don't think that that's that big of a deal. If we look at Pinterest here over on Robinhood, I just want to look at a few other things that Pinterest is involved in. So yeah, I mean, it's still down 22%. It's gone up 2% overnight, but we see their PE ratio is literally 11.4, market cap almost 20 billion. So this is a decently sized company, and their PE ratio is just disgustingly low. And then we saw they beat on earnings as well. So I think that there's, this is a really good, stock to get into because of how low the risk is on this. There's not much risk at all, in my opinion. And then we even see here that, Pinterest is a growth company. They're not paying a dividend. But I mean, this company has been $18 in 2022 when the whole stock market was not looking too good. But it's also been $80. So I definitely think that that's something we can see again from Pinterest. If these growth rates continue, there's no reason Pinterest should have a PE ratio of 10. They do have a competitive advantage, I think, in their market space. So honestly, I think something that I would play on Pinterest personally, I'm not that much of an options guy. And if you guys watch my videos, you know that. But I do think that a leap on Pinterest does kind of make some sense after this, because they dropped 40% in value. So this is a really far out leap. 807 days is a long time. But I mean, you can even go, let's say you go 408 days, a little bit over a year here. And I mean, the price doesn't change that much of these options when you're going out that far. But I do think this is worth it. $800 on something like this. If we go over here and let's open up option strat, this is, kind of improvising here on the video, guys, just because I want to show you guys, real time how I'm thinking about this stock. We see that Pinterest, if we go on option strat here, and we're, what were we selecting on here? On here we had a $25 call. It was $750 expiring December 18th, 2026. So if we go right there, and then we have a $25 call, if I'm not mistaken, yes, around $650. So Pinterest would need to rise a good amount. which I think it will. I mean, I think we can see a 50% increase by then. I don't think that's crazy. And then, yeah, your option's up 100% if that happens. So I think there's a lot of potential for this. Also, you can go more in the money if you kind of want to, mitigate your risk a little bit more, which I'd probably do. It is a little bit more expensive, but very much worth it. You see that the stock actually only has to rise 13%. A lot of the times, too, I don't promote this at all, but a lot of the times, too, you can get into these stocks and get out very fast. The ones that drop 20% on earnings are probably going to bounce back pretty fast if the earnings wasn't that bad. Especially, there's a lot of room for Pinterest to surprise in Q4 now. So I think that's a big thing for them as well. So my closing thoughts on this are that it's not insanely exciting. Pinterest is not, a stock that's going to excite a lot of people. It's not that exciting of a stock. I'm going to just be honest. There's not a lot of things about Pinterest that are groundbreaking. They're, making their money from ads. They're an advertising agency. They're, a social media-esque platform. They're very similar to Google, to Facebook, to Instagram, just they're a niche platform. But that helps them out on the revenue side because their main focus is one niche, and that their niche does well in that. So they're not very exciting, but this, you got to invest where you can make money. I don't care what company I'm investing to. I just want to make money. Overreaction on earnings. I think a correction is imminent. A correction is going to happen. This is a huge overreaction. There's no reason that they should have, dropped by 20+% for that. I mean, it wasn't the best guidance, but I think now they're very fairly priced to, make a pretty good jump here. So being down that much, I think they can easily bounce back 10% over the next week or two. And I mean, you put $1,000 in, that's $100 gain in a week or two. That's not too bad. They also have a promising future. I think this is a stock I'd buy for the long term. I think that also the risk is very low. And also they're socially growing. So a lot of people do like Pinterest. I know I have people in my circle in real life. You always want to, buy things that you believe in yourself. Pinterest is a good company. Pinterest is one that I know a lot of people that use Pinterest. They're very fond of Pinterest. They think it's a company that's going to grow. They think that, they use it every day. They have the app on their phone. So there's a lot of people I know that are using Pinterest a good amount. And that's another reason to invest in companies like UGG, for example, Crocs, these shoe companies that blew up they made a lot of money for a little bit. So I think Pinterest could be in that same boat. There's a lot of things that it does right, and I think that it's a company that could do very well. So that's all I have for today's video, guys. If you did enjoy, be sure to like the video. Also subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate your guys' support. Tomorrow, I'm cooking up a banger video for you guys, so I hope you do enjoy that one. That one's going to be really good. So yeah, be sure to tune in tomorrow. That's going to be a good one. So today I just want to talk about Pinterest, tell you guys how I feel about the company, let you know I'm starting a position in it. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.